Curtis Calhoun here with MMA News, and right now I am joined by UFC Strawweight Loopy Godinez, who put on a spectacular performance this past weekend against Ariane Carnelossi at UFC 274. Loopy, how's it going?
Really good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks again for the time. Congrats on the win. To start things off here, how would you evaluate your performance just a few days removed from the fight?
Yeah, I'm happy with what I did. The performance, I think, it went really well. That's kind of how I thought it was gonna go, and happy I did it.
Awesome. And 8 takedowns in this one. Obviously, I know you mentioned before the fight you wanted to showcase your striking a little bit. But are you happy with what you were able to show during the fight?
Oh yeah, for sure. I wanted to look dominant, and I did it. So I think I show, that I can go anywhere and I can do all of them. So yeah, it's pretty good.
I love it. And I saw on your Instagram that you posted a picture where, with your team after the win. Just kind of talk about the impact they've had on your career and life to this point.
Yeah, I mean, they are, we're like a family. We know each other for a long time, and they're super happy with everything that, that is happened. And, they're so supportive inside and outside the gym. I just couldn't have a better team.
I love it. And this was the first time you fought in front of a big crowd in a while, I feel like, through the pandemic and all that. How great was it to get back out there and compete in front of thousands of people?
Oh, it was so good, see all those people there screaming. And I mean, it was crazy. It was a really good experience. But to be honest, when I'm walking out, I didn't see anything. It was just like a long tube that I was just going there. I was going to do that, and I will enjoy after.
Are you the type of fighter that feeds off the energy of the crowd, or are you just completely locked in on what you need to do?
I'm locked in, yeah. That, of course, is nice to hear everything and stuff, right? But at the same time, I don't like to have like, oh, I do way better if there is people, or oh, I do way better if there is no one there, right? Just because that doesn't matter. I'm fighting either way, right? So I had to make sure my head is in the right space. So I just do it no matter what, could be just in the bathroom, in my room, doesn't matter. I'm locked in.
Awesome. And what was the experience like of fighting on a big pay-per-view card? This was the first time you've fought on a pay-per-view in the UFC. What was the whole experience of the fight week like with the added media and just all the added attention that came with it?
Yeah, it's the same as when I fight in the Apex. That you have the pictures, you have the interviews. Everything is so well organized that it's so easy. They make it so easy. You have your time. You have someone there that is taking you to places that you're supposed, where you're supposed to go. So the UFC is great. Honestly, they've been so good to me, and they just make it way easier.
I gotcha. And what's your routine like after fights? I know you like to stay active. Do you like taking a couple days off, or just getting right back in the gym?
I do have to take a couple days off. My knees, they burn with the mat on the cage, and I have a pretty big, open stuff, gross and painful and burns. But yeah, next week I'll go back to training for sure.
I gotcha. And you don't usually like to take a lot of time off in between fights, but you got 6 months in between your previous fight and this fight. Just kind of tell me a little bit about the time off. Did you like the experience of really taking that extra time to work on yourself and make those improvements?
Yeah, I feel like these 6 months that I was off, it really helped me a lot. I focus more on in each part of my game, and I felt better than ever. So I think it was good for me. Even I didn't like it, but I it's good. It's a good thing.
And you mentioned you didn't like it. Did you feel like you almost needed that pause in terms of just making those corrections and getting better?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel as an athlete, as a fighter, you need those times to grow, because when you're always fighting, you're always doing it. You don't have a chance to, slow things down and focus and get better and add new tools, since you're always fighting and going. So having those 6 months, it really, mentally, physically, and everything just goes so much better.
And I know you've been asked plenty of times about your 2021 fighting 4 times and all that. But what were some of the biggest things you learned about yourself during your first year in the UFC?
That I can do whatever I put my mind into.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And got to ask you about the strawweight title fight, the UFC 274 co-main event. It was an odd one. Obviously, a lot of people didn't expect the low amount of action there was. Did you see the fight? And if so, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I just go ask that question. I think we don't know what either one of those fighters they've been going through. You don't know what's happening in their lives, because other than just fighters, we have a life too, right? So sometimes stuff happen in life that will make us not perform in the cage. Maybe some people are stronger than others, some people can deal with things differently, but we don't know what they've been through, and maybe that's why they couldn't pull the trigger or whatever. There is a million reasons, right, that they couldn't perform. So we don't know, they only know. So now we just need to, why be so hard into them? Because at the end of the day, they're still human beings and they still have problems in life. So I have nothing to say. Like, it's just what it is. It's just, it sucks I went that way, yes, but we move forward and whatever.
I totally gotcha. And for those that don't know your story, you grew up in Mexico, made the move to Canada with your family. How did you first get into MMA? Did this all happen once you moved to Canada, or how did this all come about?
Yeah, well, since I was a little kid, I've been always like making boys cry, pushing them, biting them, trying to fight them, So I kind of had that in me all the time, always. And when I was I was younger, I always say I wanted to do WWE. And then when I moved to Canada, I go to see MMA on TV. I was like, oh, never mind, I want to do that, right? Then I just started training, and it took me a few years to, get my first amateur fight, and then it's just how it went.
And when you first started watching MMA, did you have a few fighters that you liked watching more than others, or who was kind of that fighter that got you into it?
Ronda Rousey. Yeah, she was it was one of the first fights with Carmouche or with Tate. That's the one that I was like, oh, I want to do that. And then I started like I think maybe after a week, I just went to the gym where I'm at right now, and I just started from there.
I love it. And in terms of the rest of 2022, obviously, I know you like to stay active. In terms of a time frame for your return, do you have a specific time in mind, or is there anything in the works or being talked about? What can you tell us about your return?
I mean, I would like to come back next weekend if I could. They know that. But I'm just waiting for my management to say, okay, this is the date. They know I'm ready anytime they call me. So yeah, I'm just waiting.
Awesome. And last question for me, what can fans expect from you for the rest of 2022?
They can just expect pure domination from my part and just taking over the division.
Awesome. And before we wrap things up here, I'll give you the floor to shout out any sponsors you have, shout out your team, all that good stuff. I'll give you the final word.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you everyone that is being with me since day one, and everyone that's been adding into my journey. And they can find me as Loopy Godinez in Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And that's it.
Awesome. And Loopy, thanks again for the time. It's great to meet you. Congrats again on the win. And I'm sure we'll chat again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.